morning, Deify here, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, where we just finished a night out on the town with Hanako, Lily, and Akira. Now, Hanako and I just mostly played pool while Lily and Akira drank. Well, I guess Lily didn't drink because Akira wouldn't let her. Spoil sport. But all is well in the world except for the fact that I would assume this is their going away party. So that's not good. Hanako and I finish tidying up the tables and cues, and pick up Lily and Akira on our way out of the club. It feels like something changed between Hanako and me. I can't quite place what it is, but Hanako is acting differently now. I feel like we're further apart, if anything. Oh, we're off to a rousing start, I see. So, you enjoy yourselves? Hanako and I both nod and agree. The game was good, and we both did learn more about each other, so it's an honest answer. Lily appears to be a little distracted. Worried about the trip, Lily? Are you afraid of airplanes? Ooh. She pauses before sighing and smiling weakly. A little. It means quite a bit. The comment earns her a clap on the shoulder from her sister. Hanako smiles back, too. You'll be okay, Lily. I hope you can enjoy your time over there. Thank you, Hanako. I'll try to. It will be nice to be back with my family, after all, no matter for how brief a time it may be. With that, the four of us begin our walk back to the car part where Akira's car is. We continue to talk between ourselves, but it's mostly just small talk. Ah, darn, that was the end of the day. It was the end of the day. I could have just kept going in the last video, but I didn't want to risk it going on for far too long. There's always the chance of that. Alright then, are you taking the bus, Lily? Lily motions to a large suitcase standing beside her. That's not helpful. I'll have to take this with me, so I've booked a taxi. Thank you, that's a helpful answer. It'll meet us at the school gates in about 5 minutes. Oh, I see. Lily reaches down and feels out the handle of her suitcase. Its weight causes her some difficulty, so I quickly offer to take it myself. Oh, that is awfully kind of you, Hisao. She has no qualms about accepting, and end up picking it up. It's not what I'd call light, but it's not exactly heavy either. I don't think I'll have too much trouble carrying it. Well, thank you then. We should hurry though. If the taxi leaves, then it will take quite a while to book a new one. Are you ready, Hanako? Yeah, let's go. Poor Hanako, I don't think she's taken this too well. We rush to the gate as fast as we can, only to find the taxi has yet to arrive, or it already left, who knows. Well, nothing like a bit of exercise in the morning. The nurse told me that I should be doing that. I think he probably had other things in mind, Hisao. Yeah, but who's counting? And probably with more regularity. Do you intend to be helping people with their luggage every day? That depends, are you tipping well? I guess not. Looks like we've got a bit to wait anyways. How long should we wait for the taxi before calling them again? I would say another 10 minutes, but they've never let me down before. There's probably just a little traffic. Alright then. So how long is the flight to Scotland? About 16 hours if I remember correctly. It's a bit hard to tell with the changing time zones. So long. I did not enjoy being on a plane for that long. I don't remember, 14 hours or so? 19? Somewhere in there. We had almost like 24 hours of straight flights from here to... Well, straight airport/air time from here to Germany. Ugh. It's now that I realize Hanako's been unusually quiet, even for her. She doesn't handle stress well, so she's looking really uptight. Yeah, I can't imagine being on a plane for that long. I've only ever flown on a short family holiday up north, so it really is quite hard to fathom. If Hanako's spent so much of her childhood at an orphanage, she's probably traveled very little, let alone flown. It's not too bad. I'll spend most of it either asleep or catching up on my English. I hardly use that here, so I need to refamiliarize myself with it a little. Wait, but... this whole thing has been in English. I'm freaking out now. Will your accent be a problem? I wouldn't worry about that much. It may be an issue initially, but I should be fine once I get used to it. We all moved to sit down on the small bench beside the school gate in silence. Strangely enough, even though I know that Lily is going away, I can't think of anything to say to her. Lily is a reliable person, so it might be because she isn't the one that I'm thinking of most. Lily might not be able to see it, but Hanako's chewing her fingernails nervously. I move to talk to her, but can hear an engine straining up the hill before I get the chance. I think the taxi is on its way. Well spotted, Hisao. I only just heard it as well. A small wave of pride washes over me. To have noticed something at the same time as Lily must mean that I've become more aware of my surroundings. Anyway, we won't have to call the taxi company, nor worry about missing Lily's plane. Once the taxi stops where we're standing, the driver rolls down a window and leans over. After confirming that, yes, Lily is the same Lily Sato that booked the trip, we sort out her luggage. The driver opens the trunk of the taxi and takes Lily's suitcase, with Lily climbing into the back seat as he loads it into the trunk and slams it shut. After getting back into his seat and shutting the doors, he waits for us to say our farewells. Have a safe trip, Lily. Take care of yourself. Hanako looks understandably downcast, and that much is obvious even in her voice. Of course I will. I'll be back before long, don't worry. There will still be another person here for you, too, won't there, Hisao? Yeah, of course. I turn and smile to Hanako, putting my hand on her shoulder. She only manages to keep eye contact with me for a couple seconds, her cheeks red all the while before turning back to Lily. See you, Lily. Goodbye. Lily gives her farewells to the both of us with a fair measure of reluctance. Without further ado, the driver starts the engine once more and they begin the journey down the hill and towards the airport. The two of us stand at the gates for a long time, even after they've disappeared from sight, not really knowing what to do. So, what do you want to do? Great conversation. I don't know. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting the choice right here. Alright, well, I mean, I think the choice is clear. Like, if we want to spend time with Hanako, we want to go into the city. The bus stop, standing by the school gates like a mute sentinel, puts a strange idea in my mind. Want to head into town and look for a bookshop or something? We have the rest of the day free. It's a long shot, as Hanako doesn't like going into the city. I count the fact that we managed to get her out there even when it was so dark as a small miracle, but I genuinely want to spend more time with her. Anyway, she's likely to just refuse and go back to... Okay. Really? Really? Let's go. Can't work out why Hanako has decided to agree with me, but I'm not about to ask her to change her mind. Really? You can't figure that one out, Hisao? Work on it. I believe in you. Stepping off the bus, I immediately noticed that a lot of people are around us. In hindsight, it should have been obvious. Of course a lot of people will be downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Hanako retreats close to my side, and I can feel her hand clutching my arm tightly. Her body is held against mine, and her head is bowed so low that her hat hides most of her scarring. So, where shall we go? A bookshop? It's what you invited her here for. Hanako's present and my other general living expenses have pretty much drained my budget, but I should be able to afford a few books. There's something I try to reserve a few funds for anyways. For a second, I think Hanako didn't hear me, but then I look to my side and notice her nodding, almost imperceptibly. Okay, do you know of one? Actually, I do. We passed a few when Lily and I were looking for your presents. Whoops. Hanako's expression clouds a fraction. Gotta remember to stop bringing up her birthday. You both spent a lot of time? Or maybe I misjudged the situation. We wanted to make sure we got the right present after all. Hanako smiles and blushes a bit. It's a small treasure when she does. Anyway, there should be a bookshop just up ahead. Do you want to check it out? Sure. The crowd starts to build as we head towards the bookshop along the raised walkways. Hanako latches her other arm onto me as well, making our progress a little slower. As we walk, the sound of the traffic makes me think of a possible distraction for her. I was wondering, Hanako, have you thought yet about when you're going to learn to drive? Driving? Wow, stellar conversation, Hisao, you got this. Yeah, you're kind of lucky in a way. There aren't a whole lot of students in Yamaku that are allowed to drive. It's not the best topic of conversation, but I want to try and distract Hanako from the situation. She's really high-strung right now. Then again, all I've really done is make her feel awkward, since she's probably never thought about it. I wish I hadn't said anything. Before long... That's it. That's the entire conversation. Before long, before one of the bookshops Lily and I passed by during our search. What kind of self-respecting bookshop closes on Saturdays? Bookshops don't make much money anymore because of the internet. Maybe they just had to close over weekends? She seems pretty knowledgeable about technology. I guess it's a pursuit that would lend itself to someone who enjoys solitude. I guess that makes sense. It's easier to find books online. Anyway, it looks like this idea is shot. Anything else you'd like to do? If it's not a bother, could you show me where you bought my present? Sure, not a problem. It's not far from here. I head off in the direction of the store, only half sure of its exact location. I don't want a repeat of the last time, spending half the day walking around aimlessly. Here we are, Othello's Antiques. It's small. Well, yes, it took Lily and me some time to find it. Can we go in? I don't see why not. It's open. Hanako pushes through the door and enters before me. Once again, the store is empty, save for the store owner. His face drops a little when he sees me. Oh, you're not here for a return, are you? Wait, that's not the girl you had with you last time. I don't remember the voice I gave him at all. No. We're not here to return anything. We were just in town and wanted to have another look in here. Store owner considers this for quite a long time. Guess he's not used to high school students coming to his shop on a regular basis. Might this be the friend you bought gifts for? That's right, they were presents for her. The store owner turns to Hanako, who freezes on the spot like a deer caught in headlights. He moves to address her, but stops before doing so, looking a little taken aback. He catches himself staring and looks to the side, addressing us indirectly. His expression is awkward and tense, as is his entire body. I want to be mad at him, but I know full well that I had the same instinctive reaction when I first saw her. First surprise, then curiosity, then an awkward look away as I dealt with what I'd seen. Hanako looks less panicked than before, but I think the feeling she's giving off now is worse. It's not anger, nor annoyance. If anything, it's one of apology. You're lucky there, young lady, to have friends that care about you as much as they do. Thank you. If I hadn't spent so much time with Hanako, I wouldn't even have realized that she said anything. Then again, the store owner's mumble was hardly clear either, thanks in part to being directed away from us. Hanako strikes out into the store, gazing in wonder at the various items on display. She finds the doll section and spends lingering minutes studying each and every one. It's a side of Hanako I've only barely been introduced to. I was astonished when Lily said she liked dolls, and even more so to find her collection sitting on her dresser. She looks a little better now that she's distracted and out of the store owner's sight, but I'm still quite put off by the whole experience. I might have my own problems, but I've never had strangers react to me like that, as if I was something completely alien to them. This is a nice shop. Yeah, it's not what I expected. Do you want to buy something? I didn't bring any money. Well, we can always come again. Now that I know where to find it, that is. We can? Of course. You can come here as often as you'd like. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. I almost forgot where this place was. I don't really think either of us completely believes in what we're saying, but rather, we're just repeating what we think we should say. Can we go back to the school now? Sure thing. Let's go. As we leave for the bus stop, I see the store owner peek through the curtain at the back of the shop. I'm not really sure what that glance he gives to her says. It feels a bit weird, and the fact that Hanako didn't see it is both a relief and a bit frustrating. Hanako and I stop walking once we reach the concrete area between the dormitory buildings. There was barely a word said between us on the way back from the city. Well, then, goodbye. Do you want to have some tea or something? How about a game? Hanako shakes her head embarrassedly. I'm tired. Maybe later? I've got homework. She sounds a little depressed. Hanako obviously does want to do more, but I suppose she would have a bit of schoolwork to catch up on. She's missed a few days of lessons. Homework. Thanks for reminding me. I've got a stack to do as well. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. See you, Hisao. Before I can say goodbye, Hanako has turned and begun walking towards the entrance to the female dormitory building. I look at the door she disappears through for a bit, before going off towards my own dorms. Today was a tiring day. Yeah, that's true. Did we just, finish a chapter or something? Oh my goodness, we did. Go us. Act 4. Scars. We're a good matching pair there, aren't we, Hanako? I woke up, took my pills, had a nice shower, quickly slipped on my uniform, ate a tasty breakfast, grabbed my bag, avoided Kenji, and headed off. Well, headed off and avoided Kenji, all as per my usual daily routine. It was only after arriving in class that the normality of the day was thrown off. After taking my seats, I watched my classmates trickle into the room over the next hour, till every empty seat was eventually taken, other than Hanako's. I can never get used to the idea that she just doesn't show up to class every now and again. Feels all the more worrying now as well, given that Lily's left. As Muto continues to drone on, I find my gaze flicking every so often over to her seat, as if she might appear there any moment now. Nobody else seems to care at all about her absence, but they have little reason to. Hanako being absent from class, after all, is perfectly normal. Or, at least, it was. Her attendance hasn't been all that bad from what I've seen in my time here, but it was apparently much more spotty beforehand. This is also an ominous time for her to be gone. It's the day before her birthday, and my suspicions are starting to rise after the breakdown she had in class when it was mentioned. An increasing amount of my thoughts is taken up by how I can help her, but in the end, I feel like I can't do anything. The bell heralding the beginning of lunchtime rings out, shaking me out of my thoughts. A collective sigh of relief can be heard from the class, though Muto looks quite put off. He dislikes being interrupted in the middle of his exciting lectures, after all. Just when I'm wondering what I should do on lunch break, given that Hanako and Lily aren't here, the solution presents itself. Yeah, here we go. Afternoon, Hee-chan! Afternoon, Misha, Shizune. You both look bright as ever. Shi-chan wants to know if you'd like to have lunch with us today. Sure, it'll be good to have some company. The cafeteria hums with activity, much like my old schools did. Yamaku is different, though, in how strangely civilized the lunchtime rush is. What one would expect to be an unruly mob chomping at the bit to get to the serving area is rather a neat and organized line. There's a small amount of jostling, and people's heads are often craning around to check on what's happening up ahead, but it's pretty subdued. This is due, no doubt, to the very serious rules regarding such matters in this school. The same strict discipline is observed when students move in the hallways or come to and from their dormitories and the school gate. While the reasons for it may be slightly off-putting, I've come to quite like this sense of order that's enforced in the school. I didn't really like being told by Shizune and Misha to get their lunches, though. I feel a little used as I take a seat at the table where they're sitting, plunking their food down in front of them. Sweetbread and strawberry milk for Misha, a bowl of ramen and juice for Shizune. I heave a sigh of relief as I put it all down, after the significant difficulty I had carrying it all in addition to my own lunch. Thank you! Misha claps her hands together before popping open the wrapper and digging into her bread ravenously. Shizune simply gives an appreciative nod before giving her steaming ramen a stir and blowing on it a little to cool it down. I open my own lunch, another packet of sweetbread, and take a bite before washing it down with some juice. The bread is very sweet, so much so that I end up forcing myself to stomach it just to get the experience over with. Midway through, I decide to take a break from the difficult task and ask what's on my mind. So, I'm guessing you two had a reason to drag me down here? You two seem to always have an ulterior motive, after all. What are you saying, He-san? We don't have no ulterior motive. Her mouth is full of sweetbread as she speaks. It's a pretty unpleasant sight. Shizune looks a little grossed out before going back to eating her ramen. I wait until Misha swallows what she has in her mouth before speaking again. You're not buttering me up to make me work with you after school? Nope. Not trying to extract information from me that I might not want to give? Nuh-uh. Fine. You win. I guess you just wanted to eat lunch with someone as intelligent and handsome as me, then. That's it, Hee-chan. You got it. Shizune looks unimpressed as Misha finishes signing our conversation and sucks in the last of the long noodles as she signs her own thoughts. Shi-chan says you shouldn't be so suspicious of us. She's just doing her duty as a class representative, after all. How is she, are you doing that? As much as I hate to admit it, it looks as if I still have trouble communicating with Shizune. It should be a simple matter of keeping eye contact with her and addressing Shizune instead of Misha in my speech, but when somebody else is doing the talking for her, it's a surprisingly difficult task. It's the class representative's job to ensure everybody's doing alright in class, isn't it? Not really. Wait, how is making me get your food ensuring that I'll go well in class? Shizune huffs and adjusts her glasses disapprovingly. So this is the thanks we get for giving you companionship during lunchtime? That's a total dodge of the question. Wait, hang on. How did you know that I... Lily's away and Hanako is absent, and since those two are the only people you hang around with, you also made it kind of obvious to see. Ouch. I may well have done so, but she didn't need to rub it in. Maybe this is payback for before. Right, well, thanks. I appreciate it, and that isn't sarcasm. The two nod, and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a little embarrassing to be accompanied just because they noticed I was lonely. But it isn't as if they're strangers either. It isn't long before I finish the last of my bread and start on the last of my juice. And as I do so, I find my mind wandering back to what I'd been thinking about before the two interrupted my train of thought. Feels like I'm the only one in the class that so much as acknowledges Hanako not being there. It felt like this the other times she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? Have they just written off any possibility of helping to make her better? Even Muto doesn't try to keep her in class. I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning. Hey, Hee-chan, is your juice past its expiry date? What? You were pulling a weird face, like this. As if it were needed, Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though Shizune at least takes some amusement from it. I was just thinking about Hanako. Oh? Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Shizune's, once my words are interpreted for her. I'm just worried about her being absent so often, especially now though, what with her birthday coming around. The memories of that incident in class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling me that much. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks to Shizune, who mulls on this for a while. The only people she's ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lily. Shizune may not be able to convey Lily's name in a derisive tone of speech, but I feel as if it comes through in her sign language. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation. There are a couple of things we know about Hanako's student council members, thanks to the records that pass through our hands, but we can't say anything about what's in them. Yeah, understandable. It sounds a lot like the nurse's patient confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it turns up being a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try. Don't worry about it, Hee-chan. It happens every year, after all. That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all. I still feel a little at fault for what happened in class, but this feels like it goes further, even without their confirmation of that fact. Misha notes my troubled expression, her own usually happy and reassuring face dropping. Everyone has problems they have to deal with, right, Hee-chan? Yeah, I just wish I could help Hanako more with hers. With that, the conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick the mood back up through her usual bright and bubbly antics, but my mind remains focused on Hanako. I'll go check on her later. I make sure my door is locked after... I don't like it when we're in the guys' dormitory. I make sure my door is locked after dropping off my school bag. The dorms are quiet. Muto kept me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after classes ended and pressing on me some worksheets to give to Hanako almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I am late in registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Looking up reveals the owner of said shadow. Hey man, haven't seen you in a while. Oh. Hi. What's with that response? My absent-minded greeting visibly annoys him. I'd probably have had the same reaction. Sorry, just thinking about a lot of stuff. Thinking is a pretty poor excuse to not be aiding the war effort. And how goes the war? I'm preparing. Right now I need money to help with those preparations. If you want me to loan you money, just say it. Nah man, I'm good. You're good? You don't want my money? Hey man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene, but yesterday I found some guys who didn't know that. I'm fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules. School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days, they have no appreciation for what war means. So what do you need this money for, dare I ask? Non-perishable canned food, building materials, mostly corrugated iron and wood panels, first aid kit, camping heater, portable radio, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock. At first, it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials, but after a few seconds, it clicks. Isn't that a list of materials for a fallout shelter? Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survive booklet. It's good to see someone so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves. You don't seriously think... It's a non-zero possibility. No, I'm pretty sure there's zero possibility of that ever happening. He slowly and dramatically raises an eyebrow. Well, as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. Not very for me, can't do it. The chance is, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place. It's infinitesimal. Besides, where can you build a fallout shelter anyway? Certainly not on campus. It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad said I can do it. Really? Yeah, he thought it'll improve my crafting skills and manual dexterity. Something. Knowing Kenji, his dad probably just thought it might keep him out of his hair for a while. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal and Kenji is just an aberration. On the other hand, maybe this kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism runs in the family. Hey, wanna help me build it? You look like the type to be handy with tools. If I had your help, we could make a really badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter. I doubt that. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, but I've never really tried my hand at anything approaching real handiwork. I'm not, really. I'm busy over the holidays anyway, I'm afraid. Shame. If the feminists ever get a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared. And your fallout shelter will protect you from a nuclear bomb explosion in the case that this does happen? A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against the blast. That's what a blast shelter is for. I thought you knew better. My mistake. My home's pretty far away from any major military sites, so the fallout following a nuclear exchange is a bigger concern than the blast itself. What this'll do is keep the dust and other particulates away from me, my food supply, and my sleeping area. It's gotta last me at least 14 days, though. 14 days is a pretty long time. It is. I need 1 liter of water a day for drinking, 2 optimally so that I can wash as well. Toiletry is easy enough, just garbage bags in a bin placed outside the shelter area. Food means canned supplies, of course. Yeah, of course. And the radio is for outside communication? Right. So I can pick up government alerts on what's going on outside. I need a mechanical clock rather than an electronic one in case the electromagnetic pulse from the nuclear airburst fries it, too. There's all the other stuff I need as well, like extra clothing, matches, and candles. I think I still have time to gather it all, though, maybe. As much as I hate to say it, I'm a little impressed. He's really researched this and thought it through. And again, I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic world with only people like Kenji having survived. Sounds like you really know what you're doing. Damn right I do. Must be hard. Living in constant fear like this. He hardly ever socializes either, so the fact he went bowling with others is in itself something of a surprise. This mentality reminds me a little of a certain someone. Thankfully, her fear of others doesn't manifest itself in such a distinctly eccentric way. One thing I know for sure is that I certainly can't tell him exactly why I haven't been hanging around with him much recently. Yeah, it's late. I have stuff to do. I'll think about making a fallout shelter or something, though. Yeah, alright, that's cool. A man has to do what he's gotta do, after all. You should hang out with me sometime, by the way. You're a cool dude. Cool dudes should hang out together, right? For some reason, that compliment actually feels kinda nice. The situation with Hanako being what it is, though, means that I probably won't be able to fulfill his request. For now, at least. That'd be good. I'll talk to you about it later when I can. Cool. Later, dude. He retreats to his dormitory room. I'd better go see Hanako. Oh, yeah. I didn't think we were going to end on a Kenji. That's gotta be one of the last Kenji scenes. I can't imagine there being any more with how close we are to the end. But I'm going to leave this episode here. I'm supposed to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time on Katawa Shoujo, goodbye.